If you struggle to save money, pay off bad debt, and want to feel more confident about how you manage your money, but you have no clue where to even begin, then this is the episode for you. I want to show you that you do not need a budget. You need a money plan. I have a 3-step guide that is available to download for free. And in this episode, I want to go through what each of those steps entail and why it is that budgets perhaps are not the way to go, and what you really need is a money plan. I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's go. Welcome to the Money Mindset Matters podcast, an audible experience to inspire, inform, and reignite your curiosity and confidence on the subject of money. I'm your host, Anna Pereira, and I teach women how to make money work for them, whilst growing a positive money mindset and developing their own financial intelligence. I'm here to share with you what I know about retiring early and building long-term wealth. Well, hello, friend. Good morning or good evening, depending on what time it is for you. For me, it is morning, so I'm gonna go with that. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about budgets. Oh, I have been hearing about budgets for a very long time and have always been on the search for how to do it better. And so I came to a conclusion a few years back that budgets just don't work. And I know that that's a really bold statement to make, and I know it's possibly an unpopular one because people are always going to say, but you need a budget. And yes, you kind of do, but I would love for you to hear me out. If you want to stop wondering, where did all my money go? Why can't I ever seem to have enough money at the end of my month? Then this is the episode for you. And I believe you don't just need a budget, you need a plan. So in my opinion, the word budget is as uninspiring as the word diet. I think these are the type of words that we associate as something that we do temporarily, as a restriction on poor, or as a reflection, I should say, on poor life habits and poor life choices. And so hearing someone tell me that I need to be on a budget is like telling me I can only eat 1,200 calories a day. And, if you want to lose weight, then perhaps that might be the way to go about it. But I think, again, it's something that we see as something that we do temporarily. And I don't believe telling people to be on a budget is preparing them adequately enough as something that they're going to be able to do long term. I think when it comes to budgets, people kind of tend to think, well, I need to be on a budget because I can't control my spending. So therefore you can't be trusted or you can't control yourself. I think this only fuels a lack of self-confidence when managing money or dealing with financial decisions, and makes you feel completely incompetent when it comes to financial matters. I think a budget really is step one to effectively managing your money. And because money management, of course, is not a topic that we are taught at school, it's a topic that, a lot of people will struggle with. So for me, creating a money action plan is something that builds a strong and confident mindset whilst also developing confidence with making financial decisions. So here is why I believe a money action plan is different. When you create a money action plan, you are psychologically affirming to yourself, I know exactly where my money goes and how it is spent. I have enough money and know my capacity to bring in more money is unlimited. My money action plan affords me the freedom and confidence to not just be in control of my income, but get to enjoy the pleasures and joys that having money can afford me, because ultimately that's what we're making money for, right? So we can enjoy it and enjoy life with it. So exactly how do you create a money action plan? I think firstly, it's important to recognize that the point of a money plan isn't just to have more money or control yourself better. I think it's to be happier with the money you already have and to become more confident in how you are spending or how you are investing it. The purpose of creating a money plan is to create clarity around your financial goals and to reduce those feelings of anxiety that come up when sometimes we look at our accounts. And the intention really should be to feel more confident with how you're managing money, how you're managing your money. And you do this by having a plan, or as I like to say, a map. So I always have a map for my money, a money action plan. I have spent several years developing my money action plan, and it has always changed, always evolved over time. So that is something that, again, we need to always be looking at. How can we continue to be better and get better? And like a lot of people, I grew up watching my parents struggle when it came to money, always hearing them argue over not having enough or arguing about how to spend it. And when I now reflect back on how my parents managed their money, I realized that a lot of the arguments came from them not having a clear and aligned plan for how they both wanted to manage their money. And being married, this is something that I know my husband and I do really well, because we always commit to having a money date where we sit down and we discuss our plan, and we discuss, I guess the first part of the plan, which is to identify where your money is going. But just lastly, with immigrant parents, I grew up with immigrant parents, and their main goal was to just work really hard and to pay off their debts back in Portugal. Thankfully, they decided to stay on in Australia, which I'm so forever thankful for. But what I realized today was that there was never any plans or goals for how their money would be managed long term. And that's where I think we sometimes fail. A part of why I think budgets don't work is because a budget is really that step one, right? It's a step one in a 3-step plan, and people are not following through onto the other steps that really matter. So what are the steps to effectively managing a money action plan? Step 1 is to identify, where is your money going? What are your spending habits? What area of your life is costing you more than you realize? So in the money action plan that I've created, I have 3 separate templates that are really designed to help you along and help you create the money action plan. And those templates are pretty much the plan, right? So in step 1, you're identifying exactly where you are spending the bulk of your income. A lot of people, of course, that's going to be for essential items. And that's okay. But I think it's really important to be able to look and know your numbers and understand what those habits are, and understand okay, wow, I didn't realize we were spending that much money on kids' activities, or I didn't realize we were spending that much money on going out every weekend and eating out every weekend. So that could just then be a reflection of going, okay, well, how important are the goals that we want to have versus the way we are currently spending the money we have. Step 2 is plan. So this means to plan out how you intend to spend and allocate your income. There is a fantastic strategy that I initially got started with, which is the 50-30-20 rule. The strategy is really simple. 50% of your income should be allocated to your essential needs, 30% to your wants, and 20% goes towards either your savings or paying off debt. In my opinion, if you don't yet have a savings, the first thing you really should be starting off with is planning to have an emergency fund. So think of your emergency fund as your insurance policy against unforeseen circumstances and events. It's safe to say that last year, 2020, was most definitely one of those years that no one could have guessed it would have gotten as bad as it did. And having an emergency fund, I'm sure for a whole lot of families out there, would have definitely eased a lot of the stress and burden that they would have felt during those early months where everything felt very unsure for a very long period of time. And so the way you calculate your emergency fund is to get the estimate when you calculate between 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses, right? So when you get that estimate during step 1, you then obviously figure that out pretty straightforward. And then you aim, of course, to save that number in a zero-fee, good interest bank account. The other point you want to think about during step 2 in plan is how much do you want to save each month? And what are you saving for? These are really important questions to really sit down and consider and know the exact amount that you're wanting to achieve. And these type of questions pretty much follow through into step 3, which is execute. Okay, you know how much you're earning, you know how much you need to be allocating. Now we need to get to the good part, which is actually doing it and putting it into practice. There are, I think, a lot of questions that sometimes we forget to ask ourselves, and they are really important to get clarity on, because once you understand exactly why it is that you're doing this, it's so much more easier to always come back to that why when you have those moments of, oh, well, I'll just spend it on this or that, or it's just, becoming impossible to save it, so I'll put it off for another year. So some important questions to ask yourself is, how important is it for you to achieve your financial goals? How will achieving your financial goals make you feel? And what limiting beliefs are holding you back from achieving these goals? These questions, I think, are always so much easier to ask, and we never really get a chance to sit down and sit with ourselves or sit together with our partners even and actually talk about them and understand what is blocking us from achieving the goals, the financial goals that we want to achieve. This is what has helped me personally achieve the financial success that I have. It's sitting down with my partner and knowing exactly what we're doing, knowing our exact numbers, knowing exactly how much our next financial goal is going to cost, and then having a plan to execute it. So these 3 steps are, I think, essential to helping anybody manage their money and creating a successful money action plan. However, the only thing that really determines our success is our choices. Once I heard this really great quote, which goes, compound choices are the 8th wonder of the success world. Because the same way our numbers and currency compound is the same way our habits do as well. It is those choices that, of course, always going to lead us to creating the desired financial success and achieving the goal we want. You can only begin to see the physical changes in our life when you begin to be highly conscious of your habits and your choices. So it is so important to remember that there are never going to be any shortcuts and there are never going to be any quick fixes. There is only the choices that you get to make each day, and whether or not those choices are going to support the goals and the dreams that you have for yourself. And I think it's also important to remember, I know it's cliche to say, but Rome wasn't built in a day, so we need to be patient. I have 3 words that I kind of always help me always anchor me back in, which is persistence, patience, perseverance. I constantly repeat those words to myself whenever I feel like, this is getting frustrated. I'm feeling frustrated about achieving it and wanting to get there faster. So those are the 3 steps. As I mentioned, the money mindset action, the money action plan is free for you to download. I will put a link in the show notes here, and you can also download that via my Instagram page at this stage. The website's coming soon, very, very soon. That's it for today, guys. I've kept it under 15 minutes, I think. So yes, have a great day. If you have any questions, feel free to send them through, email me, or always feel free to pop into my DMs. I respond to